Yo guys, what is up? It is Alex or Black Eye here. I'm a little bit sick right now, so I apologize if my voice sounds a little bit different, but I still wanted to get a video out this week. If you've been following the SPL, you probably know that there haven't been any games going on for a while. This is because the last matches that were played was actually a Masters tournament for over $100,000, and then there was a long break which happens before any matches start up again. As Phase 3 of the SPL begins in a few days on September 30th, I thought it'd be informative to break down everything you need to know before Phase 3 starts. In this video, we will briefly go over the results of the Masters tournament, the roster changes that followed, as well as what Phase 3 means for the path to the Smite World Championship. Without further ado, let's get started. The Smite Summer Masters tournament ran from August 3rd to August 14th, with a total prize pool of $105,000. 16 teams consisting of both SPL and SCC teams were invited. The grand finals resulted in the Jade Dragons facing the Camelot Kings in a best-of-5 match. After 5 tough games, the Jade Dragons came out on top, leaving the studio with the first place prize of $40,000, while the Kings left the studio with $20,000 in prize money. The rest of the prize pool was distributed between the 3rd place through the 8th place teams. Following the Summer Masters tournament, there were a variety of roster changes. This was somewhat expected, as teams knew there would be a break following the tournament, and if roster changes were to happen, then doing it at the start of a break gives teams the chance to try out other players, as well as build synergy with whoever they choose to play with. Following this tournament, there were a total of 4 teams that underwent roster changes. Before going over the roster changes, let's go over exactly how they work. According to the SPL website, 3 out of 5 players need to agree to make a change, and then after agreeing to this change, the players must propose the roster change to the League Operations team. The League Operations team will review the change and approve it at their discretion, and then new contracts are sent out to any necessary players to formalize the change. With that in mind, let's go over the 4 roster changes that have happened. Starting with the Solar Scarabs, they made the decision to release Inbound from their roster. There wasn't really a specific reason given, and the reason for why he was released is just up to speculation. The only evidence we have came from various members of the Scarabs who stated that they weren't entirely happy with their performance in the Masters tournament we just discussed. The Scarabs placed in 9th, not even high enough for any sort of prize money.
I mean, basically, we just kind of thought a change would be good in general. Yeah, I don't know. It's just the same team lost to, SML twice, and in general, yeah.
And again, the rest is just up for speculation. The Scarabs ended up recruiting Yarkor to fill their support spot that Inbound left opened, which segues into the next team that made roster changes. The Atlantis Leviathans released Yarkor from their roster following the Masters tournament. Similar to the Scarabs, there wasn't really a specific reason for his release, and they were extremely vague with their wording. Players such as Shinto and Rongyu expressed that it had nothing to do with his performance or lack of skill, but more due to personal issues that affected the team. As was just stated, Yarkor moved to the Solar Scarabs as their new support, and the Leviathans picked up Haddix as their new solo laner. Once again, this transitions in the next roster change, as Haddix was previously on the Olympus Bolts. Again, there is very little information known about the decision that was made for Haddix to leave the Bolts and join the Leviathans. It is possible that the Bolts were not happy with their performance in the Masters tournament, as they placed 5th, especially considering in Phase 2, up until the tournament, they were seeded 2nd. Replacing Haddix is Baskin, who's coming out of retirement to play solo for the Olympus Bolts. He initially teased this, but was later confirmed on August 18th. The final roster change happened with the Tartarus Titans, where their jungler, Layers, decided to leave the roster. Quote from his Twitlonger: "I wanted to talk about the upcoming split and why you won't see me playing this weekend. I've been struggling over the past couple years with anxiety, and it's gradually been getting worse over time as I kept pushing it back to play competitively. Ultimately, I believe moving back to Atlanta this fall in order to keep playing SPL would be detrimental for my mental health. I have to put my health first, so I've decided to step down as the jungler for the Titans. Sorry to the fans of the league, and especially Titans fans. I hope to be back sooner than later." He goes into a little bit more detail about his mental health, and I understand that the intent of this video is informative and educational, but I wanted to quickly add that I really respect this decision. Regardless of what you're doing in life or where you are in life, it's important to prioritize your health over everything. If you aren't happy in life, changes need to happen. I know he'll do okay, and I hope to see him return to the SPL, as he said, sooner than later. If you are watching this video, then there is a very good chance that you aren't actually subscribed to me. If you enjoy educational and entertaining content, then I'd really appreciate you guys subscribing. As always, thank you so much, and I appreciate all of you. Back to the Titans, they haven't really announced who will be their new jungler, and there hasn't been much speculation yet. As this video will cover more than just roster changes, I'm not going to give my input and we'll just leave the speculation up to you guys, the viewers. Layers did say in his tweet longer that he will not be playing this weekend, and I'm assuming that whoever replaces his spot might not necessarily be who the Titans pick up. It could just be someone they asked to sub for a few games, it could be someone they're genuinely trying out, or it could be someone that is their new jungler but just hasn't been announced yet. The point I'm trying to make is that whoever the Tartarus Titans jungler is this weekend might not necessarily be the jungler they end up going with. With all that being said, unless more changes happen or more information comes out as this video is being produced or uploaded, then that's all the information we have about roster changes. Now I want to briefly go over the games that will take place, as well as what Phase 3 overall means for the path to the Smite World Championship. This Friday, September 30th, the Oni Warriors will face the Atlantis Leviathans, and the Tartarus Titans will face the Olympus Bolts. This Saturday, October 1st, the Jade Dragons will face the Solar Scarabs, and the Camelot Kings will face the Valhalla Valkyries. This Sunday, October 2nd, the Atlantis Leviathans will face the Tartarus Titans, the Olympus Bolts will face the Solar Scarabs, and the Jade Dragons will face the Camelot Kings. Phase 3 is the final phase leading to the Smite World Championship. According to the SPL website, there will be 7 weeks of single round robin play that'll last from September 30th to November 20th. All matches will be a best of 3, and there will be a capstone playoff event with the top 6 teams from Phase 3. That means 2 SPL teams will not make this capstone playoff event. I'm not really sure what this capstone event means, but at the bottom of this news post it says that all respective phases will culminate in qualification paths for the Smite World Championship. They will also release a full blog detailing the path to Worlds later on. In the original Season 9 format roadmap, it says that SWC qualifiers were supposed to happen in late October. I'm assuming this capstone event is going to be very similar to SWC qualifiers, but again, we'll just have to wait and see. Towards the second half of Phase 3, we will see some schedule changes. Notably, there will be no SPL in the last week of October, and the final sets in week 7 or 8 are going to be loaded with extra matches. Going into each date and time specifically would take way too long, so if you are interested in this last week of play, then I would recommend reading the news post I have in the description. For those interested in SCC, it will function similarly to SPL, but with 5 weeks of single round robin play from October 6th to November 3rd, with every match being a best of 3. These matches will be broadcasted on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And finally, for those interested in SOC, there will be 4 weeks of open bracket play and 1 week of closed bracket play from October 8th to November 2nd. Select matches will be broadcasted on Saturdays and Sundays after SPL is finished. For those out of the loop, the Smite World Championship will take place in the Arlington Esports Stadium in Texas. This event will last from January 13th to January 15th in 2023. Tickets are already sold out, but if you haven't gotten one, there's a chance you can find someone that is selling their ticket. I already have my ticket and will be attending. If you are attending and see me, please come say hey. I'm always down to meet new people and have a conversation. Although I won't promise that I'll be sober. Either way, that should be everything you need to know about SPL before it starts back up this Friday. If I missed anything at all, please leave a comment and I'll make sure to pin it if it's important enough. Thanks everyone for watching. This has been Black Eye, and I'll see you in the next video.